Hey everyone, when we think about education, our minds usually go straight to subjects like math, science, or history. But there's another subject, often pushed to the sidelines, that's just as critical: sex education. And let's be honest, the way we talk, or don't talk, about sex can have long-lasting consequences. So why is sex education so important? Let's break it down not just from an academic standpoint, but from a human, emotional, and social perspective. At its core, sex education is about providing accurate information. We live in a digital age where misinformation spreads like wildfire, especially around topics like sex, gender, and relationships. Too often, young people rely on the internet, friends, or even pornography to learn about sex, which can give them a distorted, unrealistic, and sometimes dangerous understanding of what sex and intimacy actually involve. When schools and families fail to provide proper sex education, they leave individuals to figure things out on their own, often with misleading or harmful results. Good sex education corrects these myths and fills in the gaps with facts. It teaches the biology of sex, how the reproductive system works, how conception happens, what sexually transmitted infections, STIs, are and how they spread. But it also goes beyond biology. It helps people understand emotions, consent, boundaries, communication, and respect, which are equally, if not more, important than just knowing how pregnancy happens. One of the most empowering things sex education does is that it equips people to make informed decisions. When someone understands how their body functions, how contraception works, and what healthy relationships look like, they are in a much better position to take control of their own sexual and reproductive health. This kind of knowledge isn't about encouraging sexual activity, it's about preparation, awareness, and safety. It gives people the tools they need to protect themselves and their partners from unplanned pregnancies and sexually transmitted infections. Informed individuals are less likely to engage in risky behaviors because they understand the consequences and know how to reduce those risks. Now let's talk about something that should be at the center of all sex education: consent. In many cultures, conversations about consent are almost non-existent or are wrapped up in shame, silence, or confusion. But understanding consent is absolutely critical. It's about teaching people that no means no, that yes must be enthusiastic and ongoing, and that any sexual activity must happen with mutual agreement and respect. When we normalize conversations around consent, we build a culture that prioritizes personal boundaries, mutual respect, and emotional safety. That's not just beneficial in romantic or sexual relationships, it improves our overall ability to communicate and treat others with dignity in every area of life. Sex education also plays a huge role in mental health. Think about how many people grow up with shame, confusion, or guilt around their bodies, desires, or identities. A lack of proper education can lead to anxiety, depression, or even self-harm. But when we offer inclusive, compassionate, and fact-based sex education, we help people understand that their feelings are normal, that their questions are valid, and that they're not alone. It helps dismantle the shame and stigma that can weigh so heavily on individuals, especially those in marginalized communities. LGBTQ+ youth, for example, often grow up without ever seeing their experiences reflected in the curriculum. Inclusive sex education can make a world of difference in helping them feel seen, safe, and supported. Another major reason why sex education is important is because it helps prevent abuse and exploitation. Educated individuals are more likely to recognize the signs of grooming, manipulation, or coercion. They understand their rights, and they know how to say no, how to seek help, and how to stand up for themselves and others. When we stay silent about sex and relationships, we create an environment where predators can thrive and victims are left confused and isolated. Knowledge truly is power, and in this case, it can literally save lives. Let's not forget the role sex education plays in building healthier relationships. When people learn how to communicate openly, express affection respectfully, and resolve conflicts without manipulation or control, they build stronger, more meaningful connections. Relationships based on respect, honesty, and mutual understanding lead to greater emotional well-being and life satisfaction. On the other hand, relationships filled with secrecy, confusion, or pressure can lead to heartbreak, trauma, and even abuse. Sex education helps us avoid the latter and strive for the former. Now, some critics argue that sex education should only be taught at home or that it goes against cultural or religious beliefs. While it's absolutely important for families to be involved in these conversations, the truth is that not every child gets that guidance at home. In many households, Talking about sex is still taboo or uncomfortable. Schools can provide a safe, structured, and respectful space for these conversations to happen, ensuring that everyone, regardless of their background, gets access to the knowledge they need. It's also worth noting that abstinence-only education doesn't work. Studies have shown time and again that teaching young people to just wait until marriage without giving them practical knowledge doesn't stop them from becoming sexually active, it just makes them less prepared when they do. On the other hand, comprehensive sex education has been proven to delay the onset of sexual activity, reduce the number of sexual partners, and increase the use of protection. In other words, when we teach people everything they need to know, they tend to make safer, healthier choices. Another overlooked aspect of sex education is that it fosters body positivity and helps people build a healthier relationship with their own bodies. When people understand how their bodies function and what's normal versus what's not, they feel more confident and in control. It reduces anxiety about things like menstruation, erections, body changes during puberty, and even the aging process. And when people feel good about their own bodies, they're more likely to treat others with kindness and respect too. And let's not ignore the economic angle. Unplanned pregnancies and untreated STIs can have a major financial impact, not just on individuals, but on society as a whole. By reducing these through education, we not only improve lives but reduce healthcare costs, improve school retention, and increase economic opportunities for young people, especially women. So, what's the takeaway here? Sex education isn't just about sex. It's about life. It's about communication, respect, consent, identity, safety, and love. It's about giving people the tools they need to navigate some of the most intimate, complex, and meaningful parts of being human. When we treat sex education as optional or uncomfortable, we fail to prepare people for real life. But when we do it right, when we teach it openly, honestly, and compassionately, we create a healthier, safer, and more respectful society for everyone. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful or eye-opening, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Do you think sex education is handled well in your community? What changes would you like to see? Don't forget to subscribe for more honest conversations about things that really matter. Until next time, stay informed, stay respectful, and take care of yourself and each other.